Morning. There I is. Good morning, Emmy. Morning. I want to get some people in some boxes today too. Good morning, sweetheart. How are you this morning, Maya? Whew. Good morning, Maria.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Hey.
How is everybody?
Good. I'm gonna put some clothes on. I'm still in my nightgown.
That's okay.
Me too. I'm in my moo. I'm like, I have food poisoning or something. I've been feeling awful today and yesterday.
I'm in my moo too, Emmy.
I had one on yesterday. I took it off and put another one on.
I'm riding dirty.
Are you?
I'll be riding dirty tomorrow. We have to go to Lafayette.
So what a life this morning. I tell you, today just convinced me.
I'm telling you, it's been awesome today already.
Yeah, it has. It has. That it has. So this morning I got up and I always read for a couple of hours in the morning, and I'm already crying and I haven't even started yet. But it was Isaiah, which I just read not that long ago, but it was Isaiah 60 verse 10 was the first thing that I saw this morning when I got up. Nope, it's not 10. Hang on.
What, Blair, can you?
Yes. Blair Michelle.
You got to put her 2 cents worth in. He says, get on with it already. Oh, good grief. It's 60 verse 1. Rise and shine, for your light has come, and the glory of God and the glory of the Lord rises behind you. So that was my verse for the day. And then I was in I'm having a brain problem now. I was in the live this morning, and it was just really something. But there was another, because Emmy brought it up to me yet again, and I say this a lot. This is probably one of the only verses that I really know by heart, that I've prayed for a lot of years, and because it's not been an easy path. But it's Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd; I shall not want. He makes me to lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside still waters. He restoreth my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, You art with me. Thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me. Thou preparest a table before me in the presence of my enemies. You anoint my head with oil, my cup runneth over. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life, and I will dwell in the house of the Lord forever. You know, guys, I have never really truly felt love my entire life until I started doing this again. Um, I'm the oldest of three kids, and it was, my parents were young, and it was a tough path, you know. I always called myself the guinea pig kid, you know. They learned how to be parents through my birth, but a lot of mistakes were made, and I just never felt truly loved. I ran away from home when I was 16. That's how unloved I felt. I'm not saying this for sympathy, or I just have to. I have to get it out. I looked for love in all the wrong places for a long, long time. I had a horrible marriage, 2 horrible marriages. The first one I actually had to run away from to save my own life, and I still didn't learn. It's taken me a long, long time to forgive, and to forgive myself too. You know, I've never felt like I was really a good person. I've been angry and hateful and mean to people because I was trying to guard my heart. My folks, you know, they always leaned on me. We reconciled when I was about 20, and I always felt like, you know, they kind of held what I did to them, because I hurt them. I know I did, but I just felt like they always held it against me. I still do with my mother to some extent, even though we have reconciled. If anything went wrong, I was the one they called. You know, my grandparents, my dad's parents were in 3 nursing homes, and every time there was abuse in there, and they would call me not knowing what to do, and I'd be jumping on administrators' desks, screaming at them and moving them from one place to another, and ended up with my grandfather for almost 3 months every day, because I told you that story about my grandfather. He got very sick, and my grandmother had Alzheimer's, and I was in hospice with him for over a month before he finally passed. A lot's been thrown at me, and I understand now why, you know. All you kids in here, I try to be your mom, you know. I love you guys all so, so much. Amy, you have no idea how much you mean to me. You really don't.
You got me in tears. We love you so much.
And all of you really have no idea what you mean to me. I've done some pretty horrible things in my life, but I'm trying to set it right now as much as I can. And I want to thank each and every one of you for helping me down this path. I need prayers right now for discernment. I'm in a situation that some of you know about it and some of you don't, but I've got to find peace. And right now, Satan's after me so hard and so heavy. And I'm out here in the country, I don't go anywhere. But I think God put me here to get myself right too. Like I said, I've always looked for love in the wrong places and looked for wrong people, and I think this alone time has helped me so much. I started doing this about a year before my sister passed last year. I'd sit and read the Bible. I read the Bible from one end to the other. Not really. Just, I needed something. And the more I read, the more I understand. And the more I praise God for still giving me another chance. I got hurt about 20 years ago, and I was on, it was a work comp deal, and, the first thing they do is push drugs at you. And I was seeing a trauma psychologist because they had diagnosed me with PTSD, and all of that was because of what had happened before. I put that somewhere deep down inside of me and didn't think about it anymore. And when I got hurt, it all came rushing back. And still, I didn't look to God for help. I ended up finally getting smart enough and my brain unfogged enough that I stayed at a friend's house for a week in his garage apartment and detoxed. I dumped everything down the toilet one day, and I've never looked back since. It's lucky if I take a Tylenol. I just, I'll never want to be that person again. My brother was an alcoholic, and this has been heavy on my mind lately. I don't think he went where we wanted to go. And then I lost my sister. I told my mom when I finally went to see them again that I never in 100 years thought the oldest kid would still be left and my two young ones would be gone. But again, this is something that God has plans in my life for. And I think part of it is to minister with young kids. I just I'm tough, and a lot of times kids that are in a situation like that will look to somebody that is not their parent but is still giving the same answers in a different way. I thank God every day for the time He's given me. And I just want all of you to know how much you mean to me. I don't know what the future holds for me, but I know with you in it and with me, with God, that it's going to be finally the right path that I need to take. It's not been easy. And like I say, that old devil Satan's been after me hard. And telling you, those whole prayers that you say, I hear myself saying them now, loud and screaming. And I was raised in the Church of Christ, and there was no music, and it was as kids it was boring church. Never really grasped a really good strong message. Later on in life, I was involved in the youth group, and our youth person that was in charge ended up getting kicked out of the church because, unbeknownst to any of us, he was doing bad things with kids, and that threw me right out of the church again. I was like, God, how could you make this happen, or how could you let this happen? It's just been one fighter after another. I still haven't found a church yet. You guys are my church. Oh, I went to Jamie. No disrespect to the church that you go to, but I'm like, Church of Christ was always non-denominational, and I looked, and I went to a praise and worship church in Columbus not too long ago, and toting Nikita because I was a nervous wreck. And they grabbed me up right at the door, and was going to march me right up front to the very front, and I'm like, oh, no, please don't do this. And we sat in the back, and I looked at the stage, and it was a big church. I've never been in such a big church. And sat there and was praying to God to get me through. And the music started, and it was so loud that I could feel it in my chest. And rather than it encouraging me, it gave me more anxiety. So needless to say, that apparently was not the church I should have been in. But like I say, you guys are my church, and I'm going to keep looking. Because like I say, I am not here all by myself, except for him upstairs and you guys here. And I know that I need to get with some people, actually physically get with some people. I got to thinking this morning and feeling kind of sorry for myself, actually. And I said, I cannot remember the last time I had a hug. But enough of that. That's not something that I need to worry about. I need to stay in the Word, and I need you guys to kick me in the butt when I need it. And I just thank you guys all so much. I'm still struggling, but God's helping. And I know he's gonna get me where I need to be. Still have a lot to work on. But I thank you all for being patient with me and loving me for just who I am. Somebody talk, please.
You have me in tears. But, sometimes God has us alone for a reason. I feel like this season of your life, he has you alone. What you do is depend on him.
Yeah, and I've been stubborn about that, you know.
It's
People
hard.
had, well, you know, I was pretty much ingrained to be the strong one, you know. You don't need anybody, you just need to take care of everybody else.
Right.
And that's been my hardest thing to let go of.
You know, sometimes you have to, you know, take care of you no matter what that looks like. You can't always be, you know, there for everyone else because sometimes that you take away from yourself. And that's like the hardest thing is to, you know, Jesus is always going to be there for you, but you have to stand your ground and be that armor for yourself because sometimes only person that's going to do that is Jesus.
Oh yeah, I know that now, Emmy. I do.
It's not going to happen
Yeah, and I
overnight.
was going to say that
Go ahead.
rocks have to be polished to continue to shine, you know? Even, but look, I also want to say this in the word of Andrew Conway. We are the same. I completely understand, not maybe every detail, but the plot of your story, you know? Because I've been there. I've been that one. And I love you.
I love you too so much. Thank you, honeybees.
I don't know how I'm supposed to talk after that, but but I do love you very much.
We
I'm
all do.
just so thankful for all of you guys so much.
So I can kind of relate to your story of always being the one to be there, always being the strong one. I had like a great home life. But when my brother turned 18, he became an alcoholic, a severe alcoholic. Our family. It affected our family deeply. I always felt like no matter what I did, it was never good enough. I was the one that didn't want to get in trouble. I was the one who, um, you know, just tried to. I always had to be a mother to him. You know, like very young. I've had experiences with him, and then like you know, with like you said, with your grandparents, and I had to come in and on the scene, and I've just always been the one that has taken care of everything, and always have it's always been dumped on my shoulders. And finally, about a year ago, and my mom would treat me like crap. Oh, she would say some. Oh, it was bad. She would treat my children bad. She would. It was just so. Finally, one day I had enough, and I just separated myself, and I had to grow. I had that season of in the wilderness by myself too. I've learned that it's okay to say no. No was the hardest thing for me to say, but it's okay to say I can't. It's okay to worry about you filling your cup versus you pouring out into everybody else's.
Mm-hmm.
So don't ever feel guilty for that.
I have a hard time with that.
It is hard. It's very hard because I would feel so guilty. And that's what, like, one day finally I just had enough because I allowed my mom to dump on me and treat me wrong and just be so ugly to me. And finally, when I had my hysterectomy and she called and it was all about her and it was just, it was a lot. And finally I told Joe, I said, I'm done. I'm done. And she called me one day over something stupid and like She didn't ask how, like, I was just had my hysterectomy. The day I got out of the hospital, I had to go get my nephew from school because she was busy doing something else. Like, Joe was driving me home from Houston. We had to turn around and go get my nephew from school because she couldn't do it. And I'm like, and so whenever she said something, I'm like, I just got out of the hospital from having a surgery, and you could not even be there and help. Like, it was just, she's just very self-centered, all about herself. And now, since then, I've learned whenever she gets too much, I step away. And she'll be like, oh, you're not talking. Oh, I'm not. No, I'm not. You're not going to treat me that way. You're not going to treat me that way. I've done nothing but go above and beyond and help and everything else, and I'm not. So don't feel guilty. I know. Don't feel guilty for caring for yourself. You have to set boundaries. You have to set boundaries. Because if not, you're always just going to feel dumped on. You're always just going to feel, and you've been through, God wants to love on you and pour on you. And maybe if you have outside people right now, it'll distract you from feeling everything He wants you to feel coming from Him. And maybe He's trying to deal with some things.
It was never a financial thing, Sir Disalad. It just was expected that I be the strong one, always the strong one. And even that what you just said reminds me too. When I ended up having to have my back surgery, my parents didn't even come to the hospital. And I got out of the hospital, and like a month later, they're like calling me and asking me, "Can you do this? Can you do that?" And that was when I said no, and they quit calling, completely. And I was like, "What is this? Why is it every time I want to feel like I'm the one that needs to be taken care of, people turn their back on me, And that's just a pity party, I don't do that anymore.
Well, you can move to Louisiana.
But I'm not gonna feel sorry for myself. Part of it was was me saying okay all the time. I guess I didn't even know that I could say no.
I feel you on that. I do feel you on that. I would feel guilty. You feel guilty when you say no.
Yeah.
And you're just looking, and the thing is, okay, so with you never felt loved. And there's a lot more to my story with like that. It's not just my brother. He started having children and everything. So as I've gotten older, like, I haven't had the love I needed from my parents. It's always been about him and his kids. So that's the thing, is that you're seeking love, so therefore you overdo.
Yeah, exactly.
Because you think that'll make them love you.
Yeah.
When in return, all they're doing is using you.
Yeah, I pray that's not the case, It's just an act they've done for so long, I just don't know how to do anything different,
Correct.
But,
And I'll say this. When you quit letting all that extra weight hold you down, pull you down, it's amazing how tall you can stand and how high you can go. And it will eat every one of them up. Or it did mine. And now it's jealous, envy, just, look, you could do the same. Not y'all, but them,
Yep.
Just quit laying around, waddling in self-pity and expecting everything to be done and handed to you. Get up. Do something for yourself,
Yep.
So I'm gonna read this because I had sent this to Kayla. I think it was yesterday. Actually, I was reading in my Bible and I was looking for, something to relate to in the Bible when it comes to boundaries. And I keep giving my mother-in-law chances after chances after chances after chances, and she just keeps, spitting on them. And I found this and I sent it to Kayla, and it says, it's Titus 3:10 and 11. And it says, if people are causing divisions among you, give a first and second warning. After that, have nothing more to do with them, for people have turned away from the truth, and their own sins condemn them. And I have, I kept reading that to myself and reading that to myself, and I'm like, if people have
Thanks,
the
Nancy.
word in their heart, they're not going to treat you that way. If people have love for you in their heart, they're not going to treat you that way. And they have a heart full of sin if they're treating you that way. It's Titus chapter 3 verses 10 and 11.
But I
Well,
will
and
say,
I have all of
pray
3 highlighted pretty much.
pray for them people, because they, in some misery, are so miserable that they
I
don't know
agree.
no different. I guess, you know what I'm saying. I don't know.
I agree.
It's pitiful. It's sad.
I look at my parents and back when they were young and got married, and I was old enough to see the true things that were going on. My brother was only 3 years younger than me, but my sister had no clue what the beginning was. And I even I see them today, and it hurts my heart because I don't think they really love each other. I think that they like the idea of being in love, but I think they just stay together because it's a habit. I don't think they truly love each other.
They get comfortable in their situation, and change is so scary for everyone. I am terrified of change, but you know what?
Yeah.
Some of the
You got
changes
that,
I've made
Deanna.
is,
You're exactly right. Misery loves company. I totally agree.
yep.
Oh yeah.
And I just think that people get so comfortable in their situations, and they're afraid of change, and they're afraid of the what ifs, and if you just give it to God, there's nothing to be afraid of. He already knows the outcome. He's just waiting on you to catch up to him.
Yeah,
Yep.
and
And
I got a lot
people
of catching up to do.
keep praying, honey. That's all you can do, and lean on the people who love you. There's a huge community of people here who love you and want to see you get where God wants you to be, and you're on the right track. You're not far from it, even though it seems like you are right now. But you're really not. You're there. You just have to keep going, right?
Right.
And don't fall short in your and you don't fall short in your faith in yourself either, because you have what it takes to get there and be where you want to be. Right?
Yeah,
You know,
I
God's
agree,
word is
Amy.
full of all of it. You know what I mean?
I agree, Amy. Uh, I don't really want to get into my situation right now, but it's not a good situation. I have the devil at my door almost every day, and maybe, you know, maybe I answered my own question. Maybe that's why I went through everything that I went through, because God was making me strong to fight this. You know.
When God brings you through storms, He gives you the anointing to help others through the same type of storm.
I don't. I have a screen door, and I've slammed it so much I can't hardly get it to shut.
You tell the devil, get out. This is not your house. This is the house of the Lord. As for me and my house, we
We
will
will serve.
serve the Lord. And you just keep saying that. You tell the devil, I did. I stood up in my living room, and it hurts to stand up, but I did it. I said, get out. I said, you are not welcome here. I said, this house is the house of God. We love God in this house, and you are not welcome here. You're not stealing my joy. You're not filling me with anxieties and anger. You're not. And I won't allow you anymore. Get out. And I opened the door and I waited for him to get out because he probably walked a little slow. And I slammed that puppy as hard as I could. And I
Yeah,
did.
I did too. I did the same thing. And I was like, ooh, that might have been a little bit too hard.
I might have broke something, but at least he's out. He's
Yeah.
out.
Yeah. And my neighbor is probably to the back of me. Is not that far away, and I'm sure they were thinking there for almost a month. What is going on back there? All this slamming and banging and screaming and yelling, get out of here.
And they probably had the door open waiting to see who was walking out.
Yeah, probably.
And you know
Most
what?
likely.
You might have yelled so hard and slammed so much that he is even on that in your neighbor's house. He's probably long gone. He's
That's
probably
right.
he's probably far. He's like, I'm done with that neighborhood. They don't like me. And that's what you need, you know?
Yeah, nah, he's still here. He's still here.
Just keep praying.
I just keep rebuking and praying.
Yeah.
Right, because he doesn't have any power over you.
God's already won, honey. He has.
Amen.
He's already won.
I think you have such an anointing and a gift on your life that he's just trying to break you down, you know, so that you do give up. Otherwise, you wouldn't be out.
I hope. I hope. I was like, what is that? I was trying to wipe it off my face. I thought, oh my goodness, he's giving me hallucinations now.
I literally just told you that when we start serving the Lord and we're living how we're supposed to be living, the devil comes and attacks.
In many forms, too.
But you know what? The thing is,
you guys have taught me a lot. You know, all this stuff. You know, this isn't things that were. Thank you. I don't really want hair there, but that's thank you very much. I've already got enough there. But I lost my train of thought. But the church that I was raised in, you know, we didn't really talk about those things in depth, you know, and I've learned a lot from you guys as far as, you know, rebuking Satan and actually having a fist fight with him, you know.
right.
And I'm pretty good at that. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. I'm pretty good at that kind of fight, you know. It's the thing that you guys are doing is really softening my heart to be able to open up to people again and not be the tough exterior that I always am. I mean, there is no way I ever would have cried like this in front of a bunch of people that I've never met, you know.
I fight that too, Miss Christine. I always feel like I have to be tough to protect myself. The minute that I came back from vacation on Saturday, he attacked me. And I acted like a donkey. Because I felt like I needed to say my piece when I, you know, what did that do? Hurt each other's feelings. And he comes at me through the people that I love.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then you're mad at each other for days.
Yeah.
But when the devil isn't attacking you, that's when you need to worry because you're not really living for God when the devil isn't there, you know? As long as he's attacking, then guess what he's scared of?
I wish somebody would have informed this to me earlier.
Yeah, and then like today, I'm like, okay, well, not so much today, this moment, but it got to a point where it's like, I'm just waiting. What's next? What's he plotting? How I'm going to, you know, fight against, but then that's miserable too. You just, look, and this is something. If you was told right now that you had to have your house moved in 24 hours, are you going to try to put it on your back and carry it away? Or are you going to go through the process, take the steps that it requires to be able to move that house? You know, we can't carry all that on us. Just like all these burdens, they're not ours to carry, but we insist on trying anyway.
Yep. Absolutely, I agree. Kayla, we talked about this earlier. I have a screen door and it's not working properly now because I've slammed it so many times.
So funny.
Something that I've also learned over the past couple of days, I read in one of my devotionals, is that, and I think I made a video on it too, it's live like you have the right to be here. You do. You have the right to be here, and you have the right to have a life of joy and love and, happiness and promises, because if God didn't want you to be here, baby, you wouldn't be. He wants you to be here. He wants you to live a life for Him and all the things that He has to offer you. And
Man, that's a mouthful. Me and Jamie were just talking yesterday about how, we had an amazing vacation, and all these ladies showed me so much love for an entire week. But the minute I came back, he got into my ear and started telling me that I didn't belong here, and I wasn't loved, and I was, nobody really cared. It was just for a show. And I know it's not true. I know that. But it's got to get here, too.
Right. Yep. Yep. Deanna, I see what you're saying about your biological mom, and it was the same thing with me. And another reason why I wasn't too sure about if church was really all it was cracked up to be. Like I said, I was the oldest child and I saw a lot more. And we'd leave church, and she had several women friends in the church, and no more than she would get in the car, one of them would call them and they'd be gossiping about somebody in the church, and I'm like, this is not right, this is not what this is supposed to be like. And part of the reason that I probably didn't respect her as much was because I saw all this and saw how she was, she was dedicated to going to church every Sunday, but what about the other 6 days, What happened to the other 6 days,
Amen. We got to make Jesus part of our lives, not part of our weekly plan.
And that's not, I feel like I'm passing judgment over her, but I don't want people to think that either. But
no, but it taught you how not to be, right?
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, I was extremely like OCD about not talking out of turn, and and that kind of thing. And you're supposed to respect your mom and dad, and it finally came to the point, when I told you earlier about how I ran away from home when I was 16. They didn't know where I was for quite a while, and they did find me, and police picked me up, and I had to go to court, with my parents, and they were saying, well, hey, how are you? Good morning, sweet. This gal here, Mel, is she is such a blessing to me. Such a blessing. But anyway, we were in court, and basically they were saying, that you either have to go home with your parents or you have to go to the what is it? I can't think of it. Basically to youth jail, And I literally looked at my parents in the face and looked at him, and I said, if you send me home with them, I'm going to run away again. I'm not staying there. And so I did stay some time in juvie too, But like I said, I haven't been the pillar of the community, or I just, all this isn't on my parents, I was willful and didn't want all the responsibility, and wanted to be a kid, and in that, I made mistakes that, and it was funny because, they would say, look at the example that you're setting for your brother, and look at the example that you're setting for your sister. It was, there was all that weight all the time. It was like, and I would just wanted to scream at him, what about what I'm feeling? Why I'm feeling the way I feel, you know. But there again, I just, I didn't have a voice, I was always taught to honor your father and mother and not disagree, and, and so my only out was just to leave, I couldn't sit and scream at my mom and dad, so I just left. But thank goodness, God's changed my life in that respect, and my mom said, you're the only one we've got left, and I said, well, as long as God keeps me here, you've always got me, and their health is pretty bad now, and that's another thing heavy on my mind, but I just thank you guys so much for supporting me, and I hope that I bring joy to you guys' lives too, like you've given me.
Definitely.
Kind of a smart aleck, but
Absolutely do. You're gonna have a message for me. I'm like, are you okay? Because you're here at 10 o'clock, like you normally are.
What's that?
I said I sent you a message making sure you're okay, because you weren't on, like, at 10 o'clock. I'm like, are you okay?
Yeah, I was still trying to get it together. We're still trying to get it together.
I'm 50 years old and I ain't got it together. What do you mean?
Sweetheart, I got you by about 13 years, so you just hush.
I get to a point where I think, yeah, I got a handle on this. I got my stuff together. And God sits back and says, oh, really? You think so?
Watch this.
If he leaves me on this earth for 100 years, I'm still not gonna have it together.
That's a fact.
I'm always gonna be rolling in on 2 wheels, going 95 miles an hour.
Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
you think that you got your stuff together and you've grown up, you're an adult, and oh, I'm this many years old and I got my stuff together. Yeah,
And here
no.
comes that joke. Here comes that joke.
Yeah. Watch this.
That's it's one of those moments I call a hold my beer and watch this moment.
That's right. I call it Godsmack moments.
God says, "Yo, really? You want to see my sense of humor? Huh, look at this."
Yeah. Yeah.
I was blessed to have grandparents that stepped in and,
Oh, mine weren't close enough but the impact that they made on my life was just phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal.
well, Layla just walked inside. We're sitting at a coffee shop, but that's one of the main drives with why I'm as invested in this baby is what my grandparents did for me when my mom wasn't capable. She did the best she could with what she had. She just had addiction to several different things, and men was one of them, and drugs was one of them. So, that's not an issue with Layla. Layla has a brain injury from vaccines, so she can't quite make it on her own with a child, and so that's my drive for stepping in and doing as much for this grandbaby as I do. I am too old for this. I don't have the patience for this. I don't have the body to chase after a toddler, but I just asked the good Lord to let me pay back some of the good fortune I got from my grandparents and let me be that to my grandchild.
So every day when your feet hit the floor, Deanna, say thank
Yeah.
you for giving me a renewed mind, a rejuvenated spirit, making my body healthy. Just thank him every day, because you know what? He has you in that for a purpose, and he is going to give you what you need.
Oh,
He does give
absolutely.
you what you need, you know?
You know,
That's
where
okay,
would
honey.
I think back, where would I be if my grandmother hadn't stepped up? And you know, she was 43, 44 years old when I came along. And I can't, I look back on it, I'm like, okay, she had a dairy farm to help with, and she had her own life going on. She had already raised her kids. And then she gets saddled with me.
And then
And so,
surprise.
you know, so when I'm just feeling sorry for myself and get down on myself for not being able to do things, I think of her and I was like, okay, what would she have done in this particular instance? And I put my big girl drawers on and move on with, keep on keeping on.
Yeah,
Do
yeah.
do I need to climb up on the back of a horse and try to do anything of any type of equestrian competition? Absolutely not. But will I do it to get this one involved? Absolutely yes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
he gives you what you need. Like Jamie said, you just get up and ask for what you need to get through the day and take it one day at a time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And it
My
helps.
my
And it
mother
helps to have
I've
all of
been
y'all
asked so
here.
many things.
was actually my mother's parents. They were very in the Bible, and just a wonderful example for me. And for years I was like, I don't understand it. I don't understand how a loving couple like that ended up with someone that was so selfish, and so I just never got it. Um, I just never understood it.
I
Um,
relate there. 'Cause my
but
grandma,
my nanny actually pulled me off to the side one day, and I was probably in my 30s at that time, and she said, I want you to know, I saw what was going on. I know what you were going through, and that justification meant everything to me. It's not just me feeling this. I'm not, it's not just me saying, "Oh, sorry, me." There were other people around watching the same thing and going, "You're not letting this kid be a kid. She has to be an adult." And I was bucking up to it, but
with that
uh,
validation helps you, you know?
absolutely it did. Yeah, it absolutely did. And
I,
y'all would have loved my nanny and granddaddy. She lived to be 98 years old, and I lost my grandfather, my granddaddy, when I was 16, actually 16, which was a huge thing in my life too. Probably another reason I left home. But she never remarried, and she was just she's almost an inch taller than Tanya. And
yeah.
boy, that lady, when she had fire in her, she had fire in her. And that woman taught me everything there is to know about cooking. I mean, she would get up in the morning and make, it wasn't just like cereal or bacon and eggs. She would make like a 5-course meal just at breakfast, and then get everything cleaned up and turn right back around and be in that kitchen again. And their relationship just, it never got old. I'd catch my granddaddy when I was, I don't know, 15 or 16, walking in the kitchen and popping her on the rear, and smooching up to her, and she called him preacher, and she'd go, "Preacher, stop that." And they would just joke and be so in love with each other, and we're married for over 60 years, and it just blew me away. That was the kind of relationship I was looking for. But
That reminds me of my mom's parents.
um, Yeah, sometimes it's just not meant to be. Sometimes you have a different path.
Well,
So,
I think that
but
God does have
I
someone for you,
I
Miss Christine. It's not too late. It's not too late for God to send you someone.
yeah.
You just have to go through the fire first, and like Miss Myra said, you have to be polished, and once you learn to truly forgive yourself, truly love yourself, truly feel that you deserve everything God has for you, then He's going to bring you the right person, design someone perfectly just for you. And it doesn't matter what you've done in the past. It doesn't matter what you did yesterday. You know, what matters is from this day forward. And I feel that God does have someone out there for you because you're a beautiful person inside and out. And and God has a lot in store for you still. He has incredible things for you. And I'm here for it. I can't wait to watch it.
Red says I've cried on my own lives, and several other people's. She says it's a hobby of hers. There's like tons of messages. I get so wrapped up. I'm a pretty good multitasker, but when I get on here and I get on a live, I have a really hard time because I have to look at your faces, and I'm not looking at the chat, seeing what's going on down there.
Me too.
But,
I forget about the chat too. I'm horrible about that. So please no one think
yeah.
I'm rude. I'm ADD. Like if
No,
anybody saw me
please,
Saturday, like I have to have a
love you
notebook.
all.
I
Yeah, I
legit
saw
had
that.
a notebook tonight.
Okay, I don't know how old that is. Good morning, Dawn. This is another dear friend of mine that I'm nudging to get in our group, and she's my ride or die. She's been We met each other actually when I was still living in Myrtle Beach. She was a traveling nurse and she was in Virginia, and she came down, I think, either 4 or 5 times while I was still there. And um, the sisterhood was born really quick. And she has dogs too, so that linked us together too. But that girl, she's been through the ringer too. She was a traveling nurse, and her father passed away, and so she was the only one that could take care of her father's affairs. And I bawled like a baby because I knew when she moved to Arizona, it was going to be next to impossible for me to see her again. And she's quite a light, but so she's still in Arizona, and I'm like trying to get her lassoed so I can yank her butt to Georgia, but she broke her back. She's broken her back. She broke her, was it her leg first, Dawn? I don't even know if she's still in here or not, but then she broke her back and had to wear a brace from here to her, you know what, and for like, I think it was like 3 months, she had to wear that. And with two big German shepherds trying to take care of them, and she doesn't get a lot of help like I think she should at her house with her daughter, but she and her dog Riska is a black German Shepherd and developed uh, what is it, something fever, valley fever. And I'd never even heard of it before. It's only in Arizona, but it's something that's almost impossible to get rid of. And they put her on medication, and she finally got cleared. And Dawn was down and for 3 months, and then here just recently, the dog's having problems again and has developed it again. So she's really fighting the dark lord too, the dark warrior, But uh, uh, I'm trying to encourage her to join the group because I think it would be really good for her. And I don't think Lee's probably still in here, but Lee really that challenge that she made this weekend. I felt it in my heart that I need to give her a bigger push. I actually bought her a Bible for her birthday this year, and was hoping that we might get together, at least once or twice a week and read together, because it's the same one that I have. So hopefully that'll happen soon.
Miss
But
Christine,
I'm going to get off of here because I know I'm past my time. And
I want to tell you one thing. Before, I'm a worshiper, and God speaks a lot through song. And whenever you feel like you're just overwhelmed and just over everything that's going on, I want you to sing this song. I will walk through the fire, but I'm on fire, burning me, burning me. I will walk through the fire, but I'm on fire, burning me, burning me.
you're going to have to send me who sings that.
I will.
Because I've never heard that song before, but I won't be nearly as sweet of a sound as you. But I guess
I
God
was
doesn't
shaking.
care. God doesn't
You
care
know,
about that.
I don't even know if someone sang it. It might be something that our church made, but like when things are hard, because we have a lot of church songwriters in our church. But when times are hard, I just sing that to myself, and I remind myself that I will walk through the fire, because in the fire, beauty comes from ashes.
Yeah, it does. It does. Missy, I see you in here, honey. We're still praying for you and your son and your husband, and I hope that we get some good news today when you get those tests run. But just know that we're still thinking about you and praying for you. And if you need anything, please get a hold of us because we love you.
Absolutely.
Well, let me get off of here. I've used my time limit with you today. But yeah, waiting on the EEG. She said he's doing better today. Praise God. That's good. That's good. I love you too, Sabrina. I love you too, Amy. Thank you guys so much. I love all you guys. Love you guys so much. And Tanya's up next. Make sure you jump in.
That's right.
All right.